Why do we drink coffee? Is it for the taste, or is it because we think it gives us energy? Or maybe it's both. You know, for me, when I started drinking coffee, I started to notice that my parents didn't even want me to ask them a question first thing in the morning. They needed to get their cup of joe, they needed to get their cup of coffee before they even wanted to speak. It's almost like they were zombies before they had their cup of coffee. As I was 13, 14, 15 years old, I wanted to start to test this out for myself, right? And so I was like, okay, like what does this offer? And I noticed that this caffeine would give me this little boost of energy, or seemingly energy. Throughout the course of my teenage years and into my early 20s, I developed a very severe codependency on caffeine. You know, the typical cycle: we wake up, we drink a cup of coffee, we go to work, we have a coffee break, so then we drink more coffee or maybe an energy drink, maybe hit the vape. Again, guys, just so you know, smoking, vaping generally contains nicotine. It's also a stimulant. And we go throughout our afternoons, we start to notice that afternoon crash. What do? We drink some more caffeine or potentially sugars. Now, not everyone is following this cycle, but many of us do. Now, one of the key components to caffeine is something called adenosine. And what this does, it basically blocks out the part of your brain that would feel tired. So when we're having caffeine later in our days, one of the main side effects is that it's affecting our ability to sleep, to go into deep rest. Now, bear with me for a moment, because let's say we have caffeine sometime in the afternoon, they say after 2 to 3 o'clock, and we have that molecule inside of us that's signaling the brain to not feel tired. It's not actually giving us energy, it's just turning off the part of your brain that thinks or knows that you're tired. So when we go into nighttime, on top of the blue light from our phones, thoughts of the day, the thoughts of tomorrow, we're generally not getting very good sleep. It's one of the main side effects is from caffeine specifically. And you know, a lot of us drink our caffeine consumption through coffee. We're not sleeping well. We're not getting that deep rest that we actually need to rejuvenate. And guess what? Then we wake up in the morning and we're tired. And then guess what we do when we're tired in the morning? We go for more coffee or more caffeine. It doesn't mean that coffee is bad. It doesn't mean that caffeine is bad. It doesn't mean that our social media is always bad, or that, you know, driving a vehicle is always bad. Like, there's really no judgment here on what is right or wrong or good or bad. However, our goal with Oasis is to provide things that start to help the body, that start to create functional choices for you in your everyday life. There's other side effects to coffee, caffeine, like jitters, increased chances of anxiety, heart rate, blood pressure. We have a lot of issues sometimes with how much acidic volume there is, so acidic in the gut, right? It's not really good for the gut in that scenario, and it can also be very dehydrating. It makes you go to the bathroom, it makes you pee. So when you wake up in the morning, you know, from the time you go to bed to the time you wake up is generally the longest time that you've gone without intaking some kind of fluid. So you wake up and you sweat while you're sleeping as well. So you wake up and you're already a bit dehydrated. So what do? We drink coffee, it dehydrates us. It's a vicious cycle. We get it, we understand it, and that's why we created a solution. That is the not coffee. So here it is. Oh my God, it's so good.